Hey guys, what's happening? What's going on? Welcome to another tutorial by BJ, and today we are going to tackle the Cave Spider XP farm. But before we get started on that, let's take a quick look at our materials and the dimensions that you will need to clear out around your spawner. Alright, let's start by taking a look at the materials and the dimensions that you'll need to clear out. So first on the material side, you'll need some sort of building block. In this case, I'm just using stone. I would recommend using some sort of material to delineate where your redstone circuits are, just to make it clear when you're building them. You'll need some sort of half slab. In this case, I'm using stone. A couple of oak fences, some water buckets. In this case, I'm using compressed ice. You probably don't need it, but I like to use it in my water channels whenever I can. A couple of signs, some iron trapdoors, and then on the redstone side, you'll need a couple of redstone blocks, some dust, some comparators, some repeaters, a handful of sticky pistons, some dispensers, 9 redstone lamps, a handful of torches, some levers, some buttons, a couple of chests, and at least 3 hoppers. I will have a complete list in the description down below that it will at least give you enough information to start the construction. On the dimension side, once you've located your cave spider spawner, in this case we're implementing a pig spawner just because it's a pig spawner. Why not? They look kind of cool. Once you locate it, you'll need to clear out 3 blocks below, 3 blocks above. At 3 blocks above, there will be a solid roof, and then if you want to, in this particular case, this is what I'm going to show, you can put in a lighting system that can turn it off and on. And if you do that, you'll need to clear 2 more blocks above the ceiling so that we can put all of the redstone in. In terms of digging out below, again, 3 blocks below, you'll clear out a room that is 4 blocks on either side of the spawner to make it a 9 by 9 by 7 room that will be completely cleaned out around the spawner. If you want to, you could leave this wall in place. You don't necessarily need to remove it, but if you do, you want to clear out an additional 7 blocks, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks beyond that, and to the same height of at least this room. And if you want to add the 2 blocks above, it creates a nice square open space that you can do all the work that you need to do. And on this side, this is where we're going to build the softening system that's not a crusher. And again, this is really geared for 1.9 and 1.9.2 because of the behaviors of sticky pistons have changed how we need to soften the cave spiders. Let's take a quick look at how it works. Alright, we're going to start off in the spawn chamber where the spiders will spawn probably 3 to 4 at a time, and they're going to drop down into this flowing water on either side. It'll carry them into a central channel, which will then carry them through this wall. And that channel is going to continue down to the point where we have a single hopper and a little spot right there. And they're going to probably gather for a little bit. Now, when we build this, these are all going to be solid blocks. It's going to be really important so that it's dark. And their AI is going to force them to head towards the light, which will be up here. So eventually, they will all come up and gather in this one block right below the fence post. When they've gathered to a point that you're ready to kill them for the XP and for their drops, you flick that switch, and they will close a trapdoor behind them, blocking them into this 1x1 space. Once they're in there, you hit this switch, they'll set them on fire. Now that fire is going to take them down to about a half heart, and it's going to take somewhere between 8 and 8.5 seconds. And once that time's up, it blasts with a little water bit there, and it cools them off and leaves them at half a heart. And because of the 1.9 mechanic, with swords and other items that deal damage to entities around the one that you hit, you only have to hit one, and it's going to kill all the spiders that are in that chamber. You can step down here, collect your XP orbs, but the drops are going to be sitting right on top of that block right there. And so you just need to open this guy up. It will drop all the drops down into this hopper, which will then carry that into a chest. Now, for the purposes of this build, I'm just going to show it how to do it right here. I think I'm going to go ahead and do another short tutorial after this one that shows you how to build a filtered chest system that then collect all the drops and separate them for you, probably back over in this area. But for the purposes of this episode, we're just going to concentrate on the softener. Now let's show you how to build it. Alright, now that we have the room cleared out to the dimensions that we need, which again are 9 by 9 by 7 tall, we need to put in the water channel. So go ahead and dig down 1 block in the center of the room, starting at the back wall and heading towards the room where the softener is going to be built. And then 3 blocks back from that same shared wall, go ahead and dig down 1 more block. So we're down 2 there, and then down 1 the rest of the way. You can use compressed ice, it's not absolutely necessary. I don't know that it necessarily adds anything for the stream, but I think it looks kind of cool, and that's the way I like doing my water channels now. So now we need to place our signs. So you place 1 sign on the back wall, and then you hit shift and place another sign off of that one. And you just continue that down until we have it covering our center channel here. And what this is going to do is hold back the water from the sides. All right, we've got that in place. Now, because I'm in creative, this isn't going to be the same way that you're going to be doing it when you're building it in survival, but you can place one water block against that wall. If you have another bucket with water in it, you place another one 2 blocks down. And what that will do is create an infinite water supply, and you can grab it out of the center, place it 2 blocks down, and just continue that pattern. And that way you only need 2 buckets to do this whole thing. You don't need 8 buckets on both sides. But in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and just place solid water blocks all the way down. And this is how it's going to look when it's all said and done. So if you're having any problems, just go ahead and place a water block on each one. So we'll do the same thing on this side really quick. And that has the water running from both sides. And so as the spiders drop into it, they'll float right down into the center. Now what we need to do is need to add a water source back in here, and that will continue it down. Oops, excuse me, piggy spawner. Right into there. And now that's going to be flowing down into the void. So I might need to go block that really quick. So you've already completed this part of it, and I went ahead and put in some cobblestone just to hold back the water. It makes it a little bit easier to work in this room, but all the water sources are still in place. Make sure and don't block those out. And as you can see, I got a bunch of different types of blocks on my hotbar, and we'll use those in this build. So go ahead and clear out 3 blocks to start with here. Add your 2 channel blocks, which I'm using compressed ice, and then just for temporary reasons, I'm going to put in a block right there. That's where our hopper is going to go, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to clear out a couple extra blocks around it, like that. And then let's continue the edges of our channel down using your redstone block. Oop, I don't want it there. Right there we go. And then on this above the channel, you just have to have 2 blocks right there, and then we'll do this. And so there you go. This starts to create the shaft that will lead the spiders up. So we've got 1, 2, and you want to go up 5 blocks with this, I guess what would you call it, kind of a T pattern or a cross pattern. So we're 1, 2, 3, this is 4, 5. And then on the 6th block is where you want to put your dispensers on opposite sides. So we'll put one there, jump up there, put one right there. Oops. How about like that? Even better. Put a couple of blocks right here, and then put your iron trapdoors on top of each one of those, like that. Get out your stone slabs, and I'm having to hit shift places on the sides. I think I do, don't I? Yep. Shift. And then I can point at the side of the trapdoor and place a block as long as I'm not too far over. And then place it right there, we go. And then come back with our stone block, or whatever block you want to use as your final floor block. In this case, again, I'm just using stone because it's what I've got on my hotbar. And create a ring around, I'm just going to do it flying, make it a little bit easier here. Create a ring around your platform. And an easy way to tell if you're in the right spot is you should be 2 blocks below this floor, or below the ceiling right there. So we are in the right spot, and come back, put in your oak fence. Again, I'm going to point right at the side of the trapdoor. That puts it in just the right spot. Put our slab up on top, and we are complete with the platform part of this build. Now let's get into the first circuit on the redstone, which will be our trapdoor. You're going to come back to the backside, and I went ahead and built up this wall 3 courses just to make it a little bit easier. If you left that wall in place, you don't have to worry about it. But if you've cleared it out, this is a good time to go ahead and build that wall back up to the bottom of the platform. Now we're going to come back to here, and we're going to have 2 blocks down. You'll leave those in place, and then break out those 2 blocks right above. And then we're going to come back with sticky pistons. You're going to place 1 sticky piston facing up, not out. And then 2 sticky pistons facing this direction into it. And so what this is going to do, and then I place a block right there. These 2 pistons are going to fire at the same time, pushing these 2 blocks into the channel. And then this block is going to be powered, which will extend that piston and push the block up to create our 1x1 space. Now get out your whatever block you're going to be using to indicate that you've got redstone in place. Don't need that one. And you make a little shape like this. So you've got 2 out, 2 over, and then 2 additional ones here. And place 1 block there and 1 block there. Now, I've already put a switch in place right there, or a lever in place right there, so put it there. And then come down with your redstone, place it in on those blocks right there, and then a repeater facing into that piston on 3 ticks, and a repeater facing into this block on 1 tick. And that's it, believe it or not. This should extend the pistons. And we've got our 1x1 block in there now, and then that should retract them both. Now the interesting thing about this is that typically these pistons, if there was a spider that was stuck in there, we'd have the same problem. Even blocks on sticky pistons that are pushed into a mob will pull that black into it, and then the spider would be stuck on that block. But in this case, because it's pushing them up into this fence post, and because of the AI that works for the spiders, that's not going to be a problem. Before we get into our dispensers, let's take a look at the lighting system really quick. So in our 9x9x2 room, you're going to want to go into each corner and come back one from the corners on each side. And we're going to put in a block that we could see easily from below. You don't necessarily need to do this. You could do this from below. I just like it because it makes my life a little bit easier. And then from each one of these blocks, you're going to count 1, 2. So you're going to have 1, 2 to each block, and this will be in the center. And you do the same thing, 1, 2, break that one out, put that one in. And then clearly this is going to be the center right there. And of course you can see the spawner directly below it. Now we're up here. We might as well go ahead and put all of our dust in. So just do these all as a straight line towards our redstone room over there. And then connect these together. And then one that direction, bust that out, and put one right there. Now you can, if you want to, put repeaters. I go ahead and put mine in just to make sure that I've got a nice strong signal. It's not necessary. I don't think it does go ahead and reach the necessary distance that we need it to. And then we can put that there, and we can go ahead and turn that on, even though it's not going to do anything right now. And then we come into this room. As you can see, I went ahead and busted out all my blocks down below because I'm not going to be in this room anymore. I've built my my raised wall on this side, which you'll see on the dispensers here in just a minute. So here, because these are powered, this will turn your lights on automatically. I think it makes it a little bit easier to see what you got going on. We do like that, one time, and then you can turn that off and on. And that's how you turn off and on the lights in your spawn room. And so as long as they're off, it'll be perfectly dark in there after you bust all of your torches out, and they'll start spawning like crazy. And then if you just want to turn it on so that you don't have any spawning while you're doing other work, sometimes it's better on these laggy servers. There you go, you can do that. So let's move on to our dispensers now. For our first dispenser circuit, I'm going to use this light blue clay. Is it blue clay? Is it just, yeah, light blue stained clay as a way to indicate the circuit. So we're going to start by placing a block adjacent to this first dispenser on the right-hand side of our platform. And again, I'm holding shift to be able to place it right there. Then we're going to come down 2 blocks, place a piece of clay there. We're going to place a dummy block here. We're going to bust this out in just a few minutes. Actually, I'm going to take it out now. I'm going to come out another block there, and that's going to be a dummy block as well, but we'll leave it in place. Then you need to place a piston facing up off of this block. There will be another block there, but we're going to leave it off for just a minute. Now we need to place a block here, a block there, and a block there. So it's kind of cross pattern. Again, we'll put one here in just a second, and 2 blocks there. And that's essentially all the blocks that we're going to need here in a moment. Let's just break that out right now. Now we're going to do our repeaters first. We're going to place one that direction, one facing away from the piston, and one facing into the piston right there. So leave this one on 1 tick, this one on 2 ticks, and this one on 3 ticks. Place some redstone dust up on this block, and then we just need 1 comparator on that block facing into this blue block right there. And now we can place the block on the top of the piston right there. And the only reason I didn't do that is it's a little hard to place that repeater on the inside. Now, just as a test, and we're going to break this button out later, but for right now you can put it on here as a test. Click that, and that's exactly what you should hear. You should hear those 2 quick clicks right in succession. All right, that one's working pretty well. You can leave that button there for now or break it out. Totally up to you. Now let's move on to our second circuit. And it pretty much follows the exact same pattern that we just did on there. We place yellow clay right there. 2 blocks down, we place some yellow clay there. Come out a couple of blocks, break that one out. And then we place a piston facing up right here, another block right there temporarily. Block on top of that, a block above that, and a block right there. And then we place a couple of yellow blocks right there. Now let's do our repeaters again. We can do one there, break that block out, put one there, put one there, 1 tick, 2 ticks, 3 ticks again. Our comparator there facing into that block, and then some redstone on top of that. And come back and place our yellow block right there, and that should be all done and dusted as well. We'll test it again with this block, with this button. Perfect. Now, the last thing we have to do on this circuit is put in our hopper timer, and that's going to be what controls the time between these 2 circuits. Now, this is going to be a vertical hopper timer, which shouldn't make any big deal at all. It's just relatively easy to build. So go ahead and place a red block there. In this case, we're using actually pink, and then clear out 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks in this direction. Go ahead and place a block here. Actually, we're going to go back 5, and then go down 4 blocks here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and place one there as well. So you'll have, of course, 1 block down, you'll have 4, and then these on the ends. So from this point, you're going to place a comparator against that block, and a comparator against that block. Now what we need to do is the hopper part of the hopper timer. So we're going to place 1 into that direction, and we're going to break this one out in a second, and then another one into the end of that one. And I'm holding shift, of course, to place that. And then what we're going to do is circle back around here, take a couple of blocks out here, remove this one, and place it into there. And the reason we need to do that is so that these two tails are facing into one another. Make sure that that's the case before you move on. And then if you want to, you can fill back in some of these. And then we're going to actually take these out and replace these with red as well, because there's going to be part of the circuit right there. Let's go and take that one out as well. All right, now let's put our pistons in place. So you're going to place the pistons over the top of the comparators facing towards the hoppers. So we'll place one there and one there. And then come back and then take your redstone block and place it right there against that guy. And then just put a couple of dusts here on either end, just like that. Then we'll come up here and place 2 dusts right there. And then we need to put another block right there. So what we're going to do is there's going to be a button on this that's going to push this button, and it's going to activate this this dust, which will start this circuit for these guys, and then it will also start this circuit. So to complete this one on this side, we need to put a redstone torch right there, and that will get our clock activated. Now what we need to do is pull the signal off of this clock that's going to activate the secondary dispenser. So the first dispenser is going to be activated by that first button push. And then the signal is going to go through our clock timer and then into the second dispenser. So this one will fire first. This will count 8 seconds for us, and then this will activate the second dispenser. So this is the part of it here that is going to activate that. So I need to step off to the side. This is a little bit harder to place this comparator sometimes. So what I do is I get as close as I can to the right-hand side and then point at this corner, and there we go. That worked just fine. And then we're going to place a block there, a torch off of that side, and then you're going to place a block off the top of that torch. And again, I'm holding shift to place this block. That worked out pretty well. Then we'll come up here, and we've already put some redstone dust right there, and we're just going to connect it with that. And that's going to activate this hopper. Or no, I'm sorry, not this hopper, this piston. And this is how you know that it's working. You want this piston to be extended, actually. This is going to be its normal resting position. And we know that's working, so that's a good sign. We have our clock is extended correctly as well. Now, I think actually everything is pretty much ready to go. Now we just need to place our blocks into our timer. So I'm using 10 blocks. You can use anything you want to. I'm just using stone because that's what I have on my bar. And you'll make sure you want 10 of them in there. And if for some reason you're on a server that's got some timing issues and whatnot, you can adjust that until it's fine-tuned to be just right for you. For me, 10 seems to work really well. And now what we need to do is come back up here and get out a button. Place it right there. And then heard our first click, and about 8 seconds later, we should hear our second one. There it goes. Sweet. So that's how you can tell that it is working. So let's give it a quick test here. Let's put in our buckets. So on this left-hand side is the one where you want to put your lava, and the one on the right-hand side is where you're going to want to put your water. We'll give it one more quick test. There's our lava. Come on, water. I know you want to. Boom. All right. That means it is completely functional at this point. And we are ready to go. So let's just give this a quick test. I'm going to go ahead and get some spider eggs here. Where are my eggs? I always forget where they are. There we go. Cave spiders. A bunch of cave spiders. And we'll even get out our wooden sword here. Cooking, cooking, cooking. All right. Whack. There it goes. Got them all. And of course, we can come down here and get our XP. And like I had mentioned earlier, all the drops are sitting on there. And we don't actually have our hopper set up down there. So when we drop these, they're just going to drop down onto that block down there. So let's make this our last thing to do here. Let's bust out here, back 3 blocks. And this is just on the inside of the shaft right there. So you can come back and clean all this stuff up. And this is where we're going to need to place our piston. So go ahead and break that out. And then clear back this way, 3 or 4 blocks or so. And then place yourself a chest. Just like that. And then you can point your hoppers into that and just come back to this point. So I'm jumping, placing, I got it. That takes an amazing amount of skill. If you can't do it, go ahead and break out this block temporarily. It doesn't really matter. And then let's fill this back in so that we're nice and enclosed. There we go. And that should be it. Let's go ahead and drop all these guys in here just to make sure they're getting into the chest. Yep, there they go. Good to go. And then we can get out of here. Now we need to come into the spawning chamber here and get rid of all of our torches so that we can make it perfectly dark in here. I recommend leaving the lights on so you don't have any spiders actively spawning in this area. And you can actually do this as soon as the lights are in. Feel free to come in and clear out all your torches. Get these last couple ones here, making sure not to break the spawner, and we should be good to go. And then we need to close in this end wall, so go ahead and bring us up one more block till we're level with the floor. And that's it, go ahead and close in these end wall portions. And then in the central part, what I like to do is actually use a block that is capable of seeing through into the spawning room, but doesn't let light through. And stairs are one of those things, and so I like to do some sort of a pattern, something like this on the ends. It could be just about anything. You could also use half slabs in an interesting pattern if you want to. Maybe like that. And how about if we did like that? That kind of looks like a little bit of a spider hanging out in there, right? And there you go. That room should be cleared out now. We turn the light off, and there's not any light leakage coming in. And there you go. I think that gets the spider spawner completely active. And what I think I'm going to do is another tutorial after this one that shows you how to have a hopper or a dropper elevator that brings all those items up into a storage room with automatic sorting in it, automatic filters. But as far as this one goes, this is it. We are done. It is now fully functional, and it's probably not a bad idea to put in some access down below just for maintenance, but that depends on your world and how you're building it. So thank you all very much for watching. I really hope this was useful for you. If it is, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know where you've built it. Show me your world where this has been built, and I would appreciate a chance to go look at it. And if it's really proved useful to you, please leave a like, maybe even subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And as always, there's a link down in the description if you'd like to download the world. But that's it for today. Thank you all very much for watching. Bye-bye.